Allow me to demonstrate.
Let's remove this. I'm just gonna rank them in 4 tiers. That way it will be easier for you to understand. Or easier for us to understand. But anyway, let's start with God tier. ADCs that work well with Renata, especially in solo duo, is Samira. I cannot emphasize how good this lane is more than anything in this tier. Whenever I have a Samira, it just synergizes well with Renata. Cause like if I ult, Samira can auto everyone, by the way. And Samira's auto thingy when the enemy is CC'd, it doesn't have any cooldown. So she could auto anyone. Or at least she can combo anyone with EQ and then burst into W and then ult. Not to mention like how good my W would be for her because she could continue casting her ult while she is getting the true damage from my W. And then next, I would say is Nila. Nila and Samira kind of works the same, but Nila is more like into your face. And as an ADC with Renata, Renata wants you to be perma on the enemy's face. Because personally, what I would do is like I would just try to auto as much so that I could utilize my passive and out DPS the enemy. And then Nila's W2, when she said zombie form, let's call it zombie form, she could still W and dodge autos. Nila and Samira are are definitely god ADCs with Renata. Who else do I think belong to the god tier? I don't think anyone would match these two as godlike tiers with Renata, honestly. Maybe Draven. Yeah, I could say Draven. Especially if you're with a good Draven who really wants to like to be on the face of the enemy and then just catch his axes and you would just W him, free win. He gets the movement speed too, because when I W my allies, they get movement speed towards enemies. So that's even better for these three because they really want to be in the face of the enemy ADCs or enemy champions. Oh, I forgot Kalista. Personally, I never liked laning with Kalistas because Kalistas in this server or in my server are bad. Most of them are bad. So whenever I see Kalista getting hovered, it's really a coin flip. Contrast to these three, most of the Samiras I know or most of the Samiras I do with are good. Kalista, yeah, she also is that kind of an ADC where she wants to be on their faces as much as she can. It really depends on the skill. I mean, if you have a good Kalista with you, it's a free lane or free win. If you did something or engaged really bad, she could just ult you away. And since you're Renata, you're really squishy early game. I think that's all on the godlike tier, or I would say the godlike tier. Next is decent. I think the rest of the ADCs are decent. I would say Jinx. Jinx can utilize Renata's kit very much because like she gets excited when she gets her passive and while she had your W, that's more attack speed to her. And she already moves really fast with her passive and with my W, it's even better. Plus, a hidden synergy with Jinx and Renata is she could place her traps and then I could Q2 towards her traps. Wait, let me show you how that works. Okay. The hidden synergy we have for Jinx is like Jinx could place a trap here, here or here, and then I could Q2 towards the trap. It's not really more of a hidden, but most people get surprised or most players get surprised when that happens. So let's say Jinx has a trap here, I could Q2 to the trap. Then Jinx could also benefit from my W very much, just like other ADCs. And then next, I would say Kaisa. Since you have a lot of CC, Kaisa could easily get stacks. My Q2 gives 2 stacks of Kaisa's passive. First is the root, second stack is the Q2. It'll be easier for us to burst enemies because she gets 2 stacks from Q1 and Q2. And then also she gets another stack for my ult. And then of course like every ADC, like every other ADC, she would also really benefit from W. Because she gets the attack speed too. On top of her attack speed burst from E. I would say next is Aphelios. I haven't really played much with an Aphelios, but he really goes well with Renata, especially with good guns or good setup guns like white red, green white, then red blue. Those are the guns you would really would want Aphelios to prioritize whenever you have flash or fights. And then I would say next would be all of these ADCs are decent with her. I don't really have to explain this as much, but all of these ADCs are decent with Renata because they, of course, get the benefit from the W. And then nothing really special about all of these decent ADCs you can play with. Secret synergies, I guess. The Jinx trap also works with Kate's traps. Let's say Caitlyn has a trap here or here, you can always Q2 towards the traps. That's a free headshot for her. Although it's kind of hard to lane with the Caitlyn as Renata because like the range difference on both of you is really huge. She has a really long range, but you have a mid range. So it'll be, I would say, this is a tip I said on one of my subscribers, I think. But I would say if you're playing with the Caitlyn, most of the time you would have to probably double yourself and peel for her and tank for her. Because with her range, I doubt that anyone would be able to get close to her except they have gap closers such as let's say assassins, Kha'Zix, Talon. So I guess all of those are pretty much explanatory anyway. Ezreal I would say is it's not bad. Ezreal's okay. But the thing is Ezreal want to poke from afar. I guess it's okay if like the enemy drafted a lot of gap closers and that way Ezreal will really benefit from your W. And then, of course, Varus, we've already seen that in Worlds. Vayne is also good. She gets double the movement speed from her passive and then from near W. And she easily bursts everyone. Lucian, pretty much given. Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw is good with Renata too because like he also would benefit really from all of your kit because like you have your Qs to peel for him, you have your E to shield him. You have your W to, of course, give him the stats he needs to burst, and then ult as well. Misfortune has a good synergy with my ult too, so if I ult 4-man or 5-man ult, Misfortune could freely just ult and probably get Quadra or whatever. Sivir is okay too. Jhin, no. I wouldn't say Jhin is decent. Jhin has a very low base attack speed. I never really liked playing with Jins as Renata because he doesn't benefit from your kit as much. Jhin barely has any synergy with Renata. I mean, there is kind of like if you root someone, he could probably follow up with the root, but that's just it. If your ally ADC hovered Jhin, just dodge. I guess no one hasn't really played Cassiopeia ADC, but I could see the vision here. I guess she could be decent with Renata. Could still cast your QE and then easily burst anyone. Oh, I forgot Saya. Saya's good with Renata too. If her feathers are away from her, or if enemy is away from Zaya's feathers, you can Q2 towards the feathers so that she could root. Like, let's say Zaya has
On enough.
feathers here, and Zaya was in a pretty bad position for her to root anyone. You could Q2, and then she could easily root anyone with her E. And then if you slow anyone too, it'll be easier for her to get the feathers into the ground. Now, into the dodges. I would dodge Tristana. Uh, Also, Yasuo is decent. Yone, okay. These two are kind of similar, but I think Yasuo is better with Renata in a way that Yasuo could easily get into the enemy ADC or the enemy bot lane with his E. So, dodge if Akshan doesn't really go bot lane now, no? Also, I haven't laned with the Nukorki yet, but I think it's good. He deals pretty significant damage early game. And as a Renata, you would want to capitalize on your level ones. Because her level one, I would say one of good ones we have in the support role. So yeah. These three definitely dodge. I never laned with a Tristana yet because Tristana's getting played mid, which I think Tristana is better as a mid laner than an ADC. I would say I would dodge if your ADC hovered or if you're already locked Renata and your ADC already hovered Tristana, dodge the game. I would probably I'm not sure if I should add Karthus in decent or touch, but I would say decent. Well, Karthus kinda works like an ADC who wants, or an APC who wants to be in their face as well because of his E. So I guess I could see the vision there. These three are dodge. I think we're all pretty clear. So that leaves us with this. All of these champs are unplayable with Renata because they don't benefit from her W at all. Maybe Swain, but not as much. You don't want to pair Renata with any casters at all. Every caster is bad with Renata because you want to, as much as possible, get as much DPS out there. And your DPS as a Renata would mostly come from your passive getting proc. And all of these casters won't be able to proc your passive as much because obviously they have cooldowns. I'm not sure if anyone knows this too, but abilities do proc Renata's passive. However, like let's say Seraphine. Seraphine's Q cooldown is like 4 seconds early game. So even if you were able to get 4 auto attacks in that 4 seconds, she can only proc your passive probably twice. Auto Q auto. And I don't really see the vision there. Again, as a Renata, what differentiates you from any enchanters is your W. So if you won't be able to utilize your W, that's bad. That's already a bad game. Swain, same. Even though Swain's Q cooldown is low, I wouldn't certainly lane with the Swain. Senna, really bad. Yeah, I don't see any synergies with these two. Talia, haven't really laned with any Talia bot lanes, Syndra as well, but I do not recommend playing with any of those. Ziggs and Vigars are also casters, and as I've said earlier, casters are bad with Renata. Then lastly, Smolder. Let's talk about Smolder. I've had lots of lobbies auto-locking Smolder when I've already locked in Renata. The thing is, Renata scales well too, but Renata wants an all-in level 3 or level 2. And Smolder can do that. Smolder probably comes online after 5 minutes if you have a good CS lead. Like let's say you get 25 stacks easily. But still, do not lock in Smolder if I've already locked in Renata because we don't have synergy. Probably if you're a Smolder main, you would want to be with a poke support that would probably do something for you instead. Since you pretty much scale early game, you would want a support that would deal as much damage in early game or an early game support. But yeah, I've had this person once who said, shut up and just play the game. When I've already blind picked Renata for him and he picked Solder out of all champions. Out of all of these ADCs, look how many ADCs we have above Smolder, by the way. And I don't see any reason for you to pick Smolder in this meta at all, even if they buffed him built with crit items. Yeah, I think this tier list is pretty good, I would say. I think this tier list is good. If you have any questions, of course, you can always go to my comment section and I will try to at least help you as much. And then, yeah, I'll see you in the next video.